If you're drawn to the quiet, deep, and mysterious sides of life, and you value heart over polish, then settle in. You're in the right place. Today, I want to explore something that can feel unsettling, confusing, and overwhelming, but it is such a powerful gateway to deep transformation. And that is the art of holding darkness within. Before we jump right into it, let's just briefly touch upon what is the darkness we contain within. When we say darkness, people's minds often go to evil, but darkness itself is beautiful. It only expresses negatively when it's deprived of love, and that is so important to remember. The darkness I speak of lives mainly in the unconscious realms, the inner places that are mysterious, unprocessed, unlit, and unmet. Some of this is sacred darkness, but some of it becomes distorted darkness. And the difference between the two is simply love's presence. But whatever form it takes, the real question is, can we hold it? Let's begin discussing the sacred darkness, because it's something that we don't focus on often. Sacred darkness is not something to fear. Sacred darkness is the quiet, receptive space where life gestates and intuition sparks. It's the womb, the night sky, the deep earth. In BQH sessions, it's not uncommon for people to find themselves at some point in their journey in the void, a space they describe as an ocean of darkness. Being surrounded by a feeling of infinite velvety blackness can feel a bit daunting at first, but once they settle, they describe it as deeply nourishing, deeply peaceful, and rejuvenating. People claim they can rest there in ways that they could never rest before. Just such a deep, rejuvenating relaxation, like being held securely by something ancient and loving. This darkness is not the absence of love. It's the cradle of love. It's the spacious, silent container where healing begins and the self reorganizes. Learning to connect with this deep, nourishing darkness within can be deeply supporting. But sacred darkness also includes the fierce elements, the destructive, catalytic, truth-revealing energies that are often associated with the feminine archetypes like Lilith and Kali, and their masculine counterparts like Shiva, who dissolves illusion, or Dionysus, who embodies wildness, instinct, and erotic fire. These forces aren't bad. They're part of our inner intelligence. These energies can feel wild, unpredictable, uncomfortable, and overwhelming, but they exist to clear what's false and make space for what's real. They are sacred too. Now let's look at the other kind of darkness, what I call distorted darkness. This is the darkness most of us are more familiar with, and this is darkness that has been deprived of love. The parts of us that we separated from when we pushed unbearable feelings away. Feelings like grief, rage, shame are energies that can shift when they're allowed to be felt, when there's space for them to be held. But the parts of us holding those feelings, they get pushed away with those feelings when the part of us on the surface doesn't have the capacity to process them. Those parts that have been relegated to the unconscious need to be reintegrated. Because by pushing them away, we're actually disconnecting them from love, from the heart. And that is when things start to distort. Distorted darkness happens when a part of us holds something alone for too long. Without love's presence, these aspects twist and contort away from their true nature. Anything cut off from love will distort. When left alone in the unconscious with these big feelings, these parts become shadow parts in the unconscious and can show up as self-sabotage, shutdown, compulsions, explosive reactions, harsh inner criticism, or controlling behaviors. There's so many ways these parts can weave and seep in to our daily life. And it's not because the part driving the behavior is bad. It's because they've been distorted through having love withheld from them. When we refuse to own the darkness within us, it doesn't go away, it doesn't disappear. It just goes unconscious and expresses in ways that are outside our control. So the work isn't just releasing the old feelings. The deeper work is to turn towards the part connected to those unwanted feelings, to meet them, to listen to them, to bring them back into relationship, back to connection with the heart. This is what holding the darkness within truly means. Welcoming home the exiled ones who've carried so much for us for so long. And when they're finally met with presence, return to the fold, to the heart, the distortion begins to correct. They begin to soften, to trust, and to reintegrate into the wholeness of who we are. So why is holding our inner darkness something that most of us struggle with? Because we were never taught how to do it. Most of us, either consciously or unconsciously, learned to avoid emotion, to override intuition, to fear our own intensity, to equate darkness with danger, and to exile anything that made ourselves or others uncomfortable. We tend to get really good at dancing around darkness, often projecting it outside of us onto aspects of the collective, denying our own darkness while pointing it out in others. This can lead us to start seeing threats everywhere, amplifying fear, judgment, and division. And then we wonder why the world looks so dark. This is why society keeps reenacting the same patterns, because we've never been taught to sit and hold the fullness of our being. But once we can hold our own darkness, we begin the process of returning to wholeness. We stop feeding the collective shadow and lessen the amount of distorted darkness in the world. I feel that one of the deeper purposes of incarnating here, especially right now in this time, is to become someone who can hold the full spectrum of being, from the lightest light to the darkest dark. We need to become conscious stewards of our own fullness. This dense, textured earthly realm gives us room to experiment, explore, and feel the consequences of unheld energies. And it also allows us to explore the beauty of consciously tended energies. It's the perfect learning field. When enough of us learn to hold our inner worlds with presence and love, the world becomes less like a battleground of unconscious shadows and more like a conscious playground where we can learn and create at higher octaves. Not because we've got rid of the darkness, but because it can finally rest and be itself in acceptance without a need to distort, because we bring love's presence. So next time you feel the darkness within you, take a moment, and before assuming it means something's wrong, ask instead, can I hold this? Can I sit with it? Can I stay with this energy without abandoning part of myself? Because when we don't hold our own darkness, we can project it onto the world, and the world and our parts become distorted. When we can stay with our darkness gently and openly, the projection dissolves and the distortion begins to correct, and we stop adding to the collective shadow. That's the real work. That's the medicine. And that is how we will rise together. Okay, thank you to everyone who's made it this far. So I don't know how everyone else is going out there, but I'm going through a lot right now. And my nervous system has been activated, and I really feel like I'm being very much tested in my ability to sit with what is. And I've noticed that I'm not alone with this. I'm constantly connecting with people who are going through similar kind of things. So if this is you, please be gentle with yourself. We're in this together. These are intense times. If you don't know about space weather, look into it. There is so much going on this last couple of weeks. It's no wonder that energies are wild on the planet at the moment. So I just want to remind everyone we're in this together. Thank you for listening, and from my heart to yours, let's build a future on the foundation of love. Thanks.